Welcome to the Lifeline. I'm Parker Jones.
And I'm Tina Higigi.
Today we're going to discuss issues of life and health in the world.
We have a great show lined up for you, and our first guests are here to talk about eating disorders and strokes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know our first guest from the Silver Linings Playbook and the Hunger Games. Please welcome Jennifer Lawrence.
Hi Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I heard that you recently went to France with your cast, and in a recent interview you were talking about model size standards.
Yeah, the French Parliament is currently discussing a legislation called the anti-anorexia provision that is going to set a minimum weight for models and is hoping to discourage eating disorders in the fashion industry.
So, how does this make you feel being a model yourself?
I really support what they're doing because I think that these images of perfect models that we put out there are causing teenage girls to try and strive to be like them, and they're putting out an image, they're promoting a body image that's completely unreasonable.
Yes, it's no joke. Anorexia can be really dangerous.
Yeah, in 2010 recently, the French model and actress Isabelle Carrot passed away because of her eating disorder, and she had anorexia, and at her lowest point before her death, she weighed just 55 pounds.
Wow.
Exactly. This disease can really kill. I don't think most people know that.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Jennifer Lawrence, everyone.
And Tina, I recently read an article about old people with eating disorders, and it's not just a teenager problem.
Absolutely, people from all ages can suffer from anorexia, and not just teenagers.
Older people generally tend to seek less help because they're less motivated than younger people.
Whenever most people hear about issues like anorexia, they usually associate it with young teenagers because of the media and documentaries.
This definitely raises awareness for older people with this mental disease.
Coming on the show is our good friend and actor, Brad Pitt.
Hey Brad!
Long time no see.
You're here today to talk about the recent studies about sleep. So, what do you have to say about sleep deprivation?
Well, I think that sleep deprivation is a very important issue because the amount of sleep people get is very important on the way the community acts.
After the break, join us with a chat with Rihanna about loud music and hearing loss.
And an interview with the Justin Bieber.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned.
Want to try a cigarette?
Ew, you still smoke cigarettes?
That is so last year.
Yeah, get with it and try the new e-cigarette of the future.
Did you know that e-cigarette use has gone up so much that nearly 2.5 million teenagers use them now?
Wow, I didn't know that. Did you know that e-cigarettes have nicotine and other harsh chemicals?
No, but
They also have a nicotine which is highly addictive, and the smoke from them causes lung cancer.
Yeah, I guess we should just stop smoking any type of cigarette.
yeah, let's all choose not to smoke because nicotine is bad in all situations.
That'd be the best thing to do.
Great!
Great.
Welcome to Lifeline.
Please welcome our next guest, the brilliant and world-famous Rihanna. Come on in.
Welcome to Lifeline, Rihanna. So as an R&B singer, what are your thoughts on loud music and hearing?
Well, this issue is most common in both teens and young adults. And as a young adult myself, I understand why we don't look at this as an issue. We don't think about how loud the music is, we think about how good the song is.
That is so true.
So I know when I hear a good song, my first thought is to turn it up.
Yes, listening out loud isn't the same as listening to an earbuds, correct?
Yeah, the main problem is listening to loud music directly into someone's ear. But exposure to noise levels of 100 decibels is typical in such venues, but it's safe for no longer than 15 minutes. And nearly 50% of 12 to 35-year-olds listen to unsafe levels of music.
Wow, those numbers are shocking.
That's why people don't take this issue seriously. That's why nearly 360 million people suffer from moderate to severe hearing loss.
I don't ever think about the consequences of listening to loud music.
I'm the exact same way, Tina.
And so are millions of other people around the world.
Is there anyone trying to solve this problem?
Actually, there is. The World Health Organization has launched a campaign called the Let's Make Listening Safe initiative.
Wow, that sounds hopeful. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Rihanna, everyone.
Our next guest is one of the most influential people alive.
Please give a warm welcome to Justin Bieber. Hey, Justin.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
So, Justin, a few years ago, you were sadly diagnosed with staph infection.
Yes, unfortunately there's people who are still suffering from staph infection, so I thought I'd come on the show today to raise awareness. Recently there's been a new staph infection strain that is resistant to antibiotics.
For those who aren't aware, a new strain of Staphylococcus has become antibiotic resistant.
And it can live on the surfaces to 2.3 to 8.3 years.
Exactly, this strain is caused by people who don't take their antibiotics for the recommended amount of time.
Right, and what happens if you don't continue taking your medication?
If you don't continue to take your medication, the bacteria will worsen and just become more immune to the antibiotics that you are taking.
Wow,
We all need to do our part to make sure this doesn't spread.
I agree.
Well, we love having you here, Justin.
Thank you for having me.
We have asked our next guest to come on the show for a long time now.
And finally, he's agreed to come on.
Channing Tatum, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So we understand that you are super involved with the HIV/AIDS community, especially with helping patients in poorer regions get the medicine they need.
Yeah, I try to stay up on all the HIV/AIDS related topics. And the new one is that you can actually inject a drug into your arm that lasts for 40 days.
Wow, that's amazing. So how will this help the patients?
This will help the patients by having them stay on the schedule for using their drugs, and it's just a lot easier to do.
So how will this help patients in poorer countries?
In poorer countries, it's a lot more helpful because it actually stays in your arm for 40 days, and then many Africans won't have to go to the doctor or see a doctor for a while.
Well, thanks for the great information. I hope to see you again soon. It's Tina and Parker here outside of stem cell research debate. Let's go interview some people about what they think about it. Hi, I'm from Lifeline. I was hoping I could talk to you about why you're out here today.
I'm out here today because I want stem cell research banned. It takes the life of a human being.
Very interesting.
How do you feel about stem cell research?
I believe that stem cell research should be supported and not banned. Stem cell research can lead to saving many lives.
Can you give us a little background on what stem cell research is?
Yes, stem cells are cells that can turn into new cells, and this could help us cure cancer, diabetes, and many other diseases.
Wow, that's amazing. Is there an example of stem cell research you can give us?
Yeah, so scientists have cultivated stem cells into new insulin-producing cells, and when these cells were placed in mice with type 2 diabetes, they were able to produce enough glucose and to regulate the glucose levels. And if we transfer this research to humans, we should be able to save over 21 million lives in the United States.
What do you have to say to those responses?
I think that there's a great cure, but it's a problem because they kill a lot of embryos in the process, and they should use stem cells from adult genomes instead of using ones from embryos. And they should not use this for bad, like cloning and human engineering, like they are currently.
If you are someone who has a history of heroin abuse or in need of help, then please watch this video carefully.
Heroin abuse has more than doubled from 214,000 people to 467 people in the past 10 years.
Heroin abuse can cause collapsed veins, HIV, and AIDS.
Sometimes normal drug rehab doesn't work.
If you're one of these people who is struggling with finding treatments, look no further because there is now heroin-assisted therapy.
Don't worry about the cost because it isn't nearly as expensive as you may have heard.
Heroin is illegal.
Heroin is dangerous.
So get the help you need today by calling 925-123-5566.
Welcome back to Lifeline. As you all probably know, the 2011 Japan earthquake was one of the most powerful earthquakes Japan has ever experienced.
Here's our health correspondent, Brian Hemingway.
It was the most powerful earthquake that Japan has seen in over a decade. And today I'm here with Dr. Gallagher, who was at the scene of the earthquake. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
Well, when the earthquake first struck, it knocked all my paintings off the walls, and 15 minutes later the water started rushing in and threw the cars around like toys.
Sounds like a crazy experience. Can you tell us about the effects this earthquake had?
Some of the effects were that the earthquake caused many halocarbons to be released into the atmosphere. And
Interesting. Do these halocarbons have any effect on humans directly?
Not directly, but humans do produce these halocarbons and be causing harm to our atmosphere.
Thank you for your recent findings and your time. That's all we have time for today, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Haley Fisher, coming to you live from Texas, where the first outbreak of Ebola has happened in the U.S. I'm here with Dr. Lisa to tell us about her experience with Ebola.
Hi, living with Ebola was a really, really painful experience, and also just not knowing whether you're going to live or die is something that's really, really awful to go through. And that's why I'm doing everything I can as a doctor myself to help other people to survive Ebola as well.
Can you tell us more about the drug you guys have been testing on monkeys?
Yeah, so this drug is called TKM Ebola Guinea, and we have tested it on several monkeys, and during a 4-week trial period, we have cured 3 of 6 monkeys.
Wow, so do you think this can prove successful in humans too?
We really hope so. We're currently working on getting a license to test this drug on humans with Ebola as well, and we're optimistic that it will do many things to help cure people.
Well, I think it's amazing how technologically advanced we have become where we could possibly cure Ebola. Thanks for talking with us, Dr. Lisa. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Haley. Off to Dr. Webster to talk about nanoparticles.
Hello class, today we have Dr. Webster with us visiting all the way from Northeastern University. She's here to share with us some of her findings. Feel free to ask any questions that you might have.
Good morning, class.
Good morning.
I'll start off by telling you about the research my team has spent the last decade working on, which is called nanoparticles, which helps fight both cancer and Ebola. It's been developed to manipulate a matter at molecular and even atomic scale to penetrate living cells. Yes.
What do these nanoparticles do?
Well, we're working on methods to use infrared light to heat up the nanoparticles that will kill the infected cells and still keep the living cells alive. We've been calling them nanostars because of their star shapes. Yes.
How are you so sure that they'll work?
Well, it may sound too good to be true, but we're still working on the kinks and errors. Yes.
When will your project be done?
Well, not anytime soon because we still have many years of research ahead of us. But my team has been working on a fairly good pace. I think that's as much time we have today. Thanks for talking.
Up next, our health correspondent Maddie reporting from Atlanta, Georgia about Ebola.
So Dr. Crozier, could you tell us what happened after you thought you were cured of Ebola but started to notice new symptoms in your eye?
Well, just 2 months after being supposedly cured of Ebola, I had intense pain, blurriness of vision, and pressure in my left eye.
What did they find in your eye?
The doctors ran some tests and they found that I had Ebola still remaining in my eye after I'd been cured, but luckily I was not contagious at that time.
What is this relapse of Ebola called?
It's called post-Ebola syndrome, and it's very dangerous. Many people have lost senses, and me myself, I temporarily went blind, and this is very tough thing for people that went through a fight against Ebola.
Wow, that sounds really hard. Is it very common for survivors of Ebola?
Yeah, many people that have been supposedly cured of Ebola end up in hospitals just a few months after they've been cleared and said that they have been Ebola free. And this is very dangerous because they could be contagious and they are losing their senses.
Wow, that sounds like a really hard thing. Nobody should have to go through Ebola twice. Well, thank you for coming on the air with us, Dr. Peterson, and back to you, Parker and Tina.